Razi Raziuddin is a research biologist who left India in 1980s for the US and settled there. He is now a highly distinguished researcher in the National Cancer Institute in the US. He is loved among the Indian diaspora settled in the US. Other than his interest in science, he wears another feather on his cap. He is an Urdu poet who's taken quite seriously. Whenever he gets the time, he loves to travel to India to connect to his roots. Today, he joins us for an online discussion from Washington, D.C. Welcome to the Matrix. Razi Raziuddin studied at Aligarh Muslim University and then went to Banaras Hindu University for his PhD in biochemistry. It's been more than 40 years since he settled in the US, but his love for India never fades. He belongs to Azamgarh in Uttar Pradesh. In Washington, he connects with his Indian roots through the vibrant Indian diaspora, which is making our country proud by their amazing achievements. Welcome to the show, sir, and Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullah.
Sir, it's been 40 years you've been in America. How has been your life there?
Well, it has been exactly 43 years.
Okay.
I came to US in 1980,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been a very pleasant, very steady journey. We are well settled here, but we have never left India. In fact, physically we are here, but all the time we are very much Indian here. There are too many Indian diaspora here.
Mm-hmm.
So there is another mini India lives within USA. And being in the Washington area, we feel quite, visibility everywhere at NIH, where I work. A lot of Indian scientists there. And if you go to any other agencies, you will always see Indian subcontinent people. So, well, I will say that it has been a very pleasant and uh, very successful journey for just like for any other Indian. I'm also part of it. Uh,
Absolutely, sir.
just
You
to
really.
just to make a correction, I'm not a highly recognized scientist. I'm barely a scientist. I exist there at NIH like 30,000 other scientists. So I'm okay. Yeah.
No, we
Survive,
know, so
survive.
you are very unassuming. But tell us, sir, you are working with world's most reputed National Cancer Institute. How does it feel to be a person of Indian origin working with top class scientists of the world in the US?
Well, there are so many Indian scientists within that National Cancer Institute, and all are trying to be quite successful or compatible, and they are. Yes, we feel proud to be part of the one of the best institution in the world, and we are also contributing very positively. Indian scientists are taken very seriously there, and the reason that you can see, if you come here, you will see so many Indians, so many Indians. No other ethnicity will be so visible as the Indian ethnicity, and they are highly successful. They are very hardworking. Here, at least here, what we can say, we are making a big visibility and big contribution here, and you know, highly recognized in the field.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. That's great. Sir, please tell us about the research you carry out. Obviously, it
Wow.
has to do with cancer, right?
Yes, well, I am a very basic researcher, basic science researcher. That means we are going into the very deep fundamentals of how biology works within the human body physiology. And so it is my job is, or my task is to do the very fundamental research where how the, cells, human body is made of so many cells, how a cell, a normal cell grows, and if what happens if the cell becomes cancerous. So the idea is to find the mechanism of cancer progression, and once we find the mechanism, then you can do many other things to counter it. So the idea is, in my research, is very basic idea of functionality of a normal cell, and what are the other influencer like proteins and DNA and other things which can cause to become this cell abnormal. So how the normal cells growth becomes abnormal to cancerous is what we are pursuing in a
Sure.
very layman's language.
Sir, your achievements are remarkable, both as a scientist and a distinguished person representing Indian diaspora. How does it feel to represent India in the US?
Well, yes, we feel proud of representing India here, but in the process of 43 years, we have to, it goes back the other way around too. We are so much Americanized also. We are technically American citizens, so our legs are on both boats, and we have
Mm-hmm.
to represent the good and bad of both. So we are representing India, we are representing, when we go to India, we are representing America. When we
Right.
are here, we are constantly representing India and Indian
Mm-hmm.
interests. And there are sometimes negative, things coming out, or there are many positive things that we see. So we have to uh, be very careful in pursuing what is negative, what is positive. And
Right.
so there is a lot of dynamism here within the Indian community. Indian
Mm-hmm.
community is not homogeneous. There are different kinds. There
Mm-hmm.
are there are political inclination of certain class into one camp, political inclination into other camp. There are cultural differences,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, we are all Indians, so you know India very
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
It's a unity in diversity project.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. That's great. So you're also a distinguished Urdu poet. Tell us more about it.
I'm not a distinguished Urdu poet. I come from a Urdu literary family from Azamgarh. Everybody there was either a scholar or a poet. So, in spite of being in science, I got into this too. And as a
Mm-hmm.
hobby, I write, and sometimes long back, Rekhta. Some of my poems have been put on Rekhta. I,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote though a lot, maybe in hundreds and hundreds, but I'm not so serious to publish it. I should publish it. People who know me, they press me to go and publishing
Right.
just one, two, three books,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still busy elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My
So
my
yeah.
passion goes more into the my forum right now. Since 4 years, we are running a Indian Diaspora Washington DC forum, which is
Okay.
which is doing very successfully in, like we do on every Saturday, routinely every Saturday since 4 years. So at
Mm-hmm.
least we have at least 150 to 180 episodes. So within
Okay.
this, yeah. So that's
So
very, yeah. Please go
so
ahead.
what is this forum like? So tell us more about it. Who are the kind of people who join you? What do you do on at this
Well,
forum?
the Indian diaspora, actually, if you click Indian diaspora Washington DC Metro, you will see almost any visible scholar or activist from India. So
Mhm.
whatever your, I can see few pictures coming in your background of
Right.
Y.S. Qureshi and some others. They were part of this forum. So when COVID started,
Mm-hmm.
we all were isolated. We all were put in our respective homes, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, didn't know what to do because humans have a habit of socializing and meeting especially diaspora had a habit of meeting every Saturday, long groups and all those, and it was all totally gone, and so we didn't know what to do. So I called a few friends and said that why don't I or we start some kind of social virtual meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, even 4 years back, very little idea about Zoom, WebEx, and other things were there. But I found it out that we can do it on Zoom, so we casually started it, and let's do it on a Saturday, invite a speaker and listen. And that's how we can see each other faces and we can gossip, we can chat. From there it is started, but then it became very serious, and I started inviting quite famous scholars from Oxford, from all from Indian or Pakistani backgrounds. I mean, Indian subcontinent background. All the big names started coming, and people, the audience was getting enlarged, and then we put it into a shape like we will do a very nice poster and
Hmm.
a good title and a very famous face and all those. And we structured it in a way that it became a routine, like, a session, like everybody will be waiting for Saturday at a particular time that, okay, now we should click on this Zoom link and
Hmm.
here we are. So, from Romila Thapar to Irfan Habib to Ravish Kumar to Harsh Mandar to
Hmm.
any other popular journalist or popular personality from Aligarh or elsewhere, or
Yes.
new scholar. And we have all kind of things. Our
Right.
Danish Iqbal in the literary and entertainment
Yes.
side. So we have put not to become a monotonous. So it is a literature sometimes. Other Saturday it will be politics. Other Saturday it will be culture. Other Saturday it will be something else. So we have a variety of interest, and based on that, our audience is also very plural. All regions from Indian subcontinent, genders, all religions, all all communities. It's a very plural setting. So if you join, you will love it. So that's what
Wonderful.
we are doing. So my passion right now is Indian Diaspora Washington DC Forum and a little poetry. This is away from our career.
Hmm.
I still do science, so
Right.
yeah.
Right. So tell us that you studied both from AMU and BHU. Are you still connected with the alumni, your former classmates, or
Yes. Well,
people?
yeah, legal students, wherever they go, they form a association. That's
Mhm.
called used to be called Old Boys Association. Now in the new setting, it is called Alumni Association. So we
Right.
have a legal alumni association everywhere in every major city. I was very much part of our Washington DC Legal Alumni Association. It's a very large association. Very
Hmm.
prominent people are there, and since 1975, this association is working. And somehow, because I went to BHU at a PhD level,
Hmm.
so when you go at a PhD level, you're not a like unlike at Aligarh, when you go as an undergraduate student, you're connected with more in the hostels, and you are still very fresh, so your emotions are different. At a
Correct.
PhD level, you are more mature,
You were-
different. So I am very connected with BHU also, and actually, it is very unique. You will not find many people in India who
Mhm.
have studied at both places.
Yes, that's what is remarkable about the
So,
academy.
yeah, and so it is a very unique experience that
Mhm.
I get the best or the worst of both. And
Both.
I know the best or the worst of both. And in a way, I'm very candid and very open also in my
Mhm.
talk. So don't mind. You can
Yeah.
edit if you want to edit. And I know, and this experience tells me also
Mm.
about the best and the worst of both communities, because if they are reflective from these places, because
Right.
they certainly pursue Aligarh,
Mhm.
Aligarh Muslim University is considered as the cultural or intellectual uh, what you
For
call center of the Muslims of India,
right.
although it is a secular institution. And BHU also is considered, I mean, historically, as
Hmm.
I mean, India is full of Hindus, of course, but BHU is specialized for that, and
Right.
it was created for the for promoting the good, for the Hindu interest, the good thing
Yes.
among the Hindu interest, and they are conscious about it. Both are
Yes.
both are actually very secular institution, very
Yes.
tolerant institution.
Hmm.
In 5 years of my stay at BHU, I had all the positive things only to say. There is nothing really for a Muslim student, and
Yes.
there were thousands and thousands of Muslim students. Actually, I was very surprised. Going
Okay.
going from MU, I had not a very positive idea about it. But once you are there, you will see that Banaras is a very large, has a large Muslim population, and most of them go to BHU for their
Hmm.
studies. So you could see Muslim girls also in burqa. In my
Okay.
70, during the 75, 74 era, I used to go to arts faculty.
Hmm.
In fact, there was a room assigned for a Friday prayer,
Oh,
and
really?
I was
Okay.
far more surprised knowing that. And
Hmm.
I'll see Muslim students gathering there right in the heart of arts faculty, praying
Hmm.
Friday prayer. I mean,
Hmm.
just imagine India that tolerant in BHU, that kind
Yes.
of plurality, and see that India right now, it is difficult to imagine. Right in the heart of BHU, people
Yes.
people were praying, and everybody was very happy and tolerant about it. There was nothing.
Right.
So yeah, going being at an MU and BHU gives me a very broad and very different experience, and not many can claim for that. And when
Yes.
people talk about politics and culture, I
Hmm.
sometimes come and tell them that, look, I will say whatever based on my experiences from both sides.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you've had a very inclusive, sort of educational background also, and the kind of exposure you've had. Now, sir, you tell me that you live in the US, yet you are very simple in your living. I can see.
Well,
Uh, how have you retained your simplicity? In terms of your. When I met you in India, I saw you that you're very unassuming, very simple in your.
what
You
you what you what you presume, you guys living in India presume that the Indians who come here will become uh, American. In what sense? That we will speak all the time English, we will eat, or what we do? I mean, I found
know.
it is quite actually amusing to me. I
Mm-hmm.
find whenever I go to India, in
Hmm.
the upper class or upper middle class, some of the times when I meet, I find them more westernized,
Hmm.
because they talk more in English. Their value sets are more westernized, at least
Mm.
in physical way. Their
Right.
dresses are more westernized than me or my family, or like my families, many other Indians. They feel like they are more Indianized living in America than the Indians of that level. I mean, if we call ourselves middle class or upper middle class,
Mm.
achievers. In the
Right.
achievers, if we compare the achievers,
Hmm.
it's sometimes quite amusing to see that our kids' cousins there, or us versus our cousins there, not my cousins, but others, seem to be far more copying the West than us, who remain very much Indian, uh,
Okay.
very much Indian, because
Yes.
probably we get the both. That's why we have found that
Right.
how to balance and live.
Right. So this brings me to this question: how often do you miss India, say in a day, and what is it most that you miss about not living in India?
Well, I live in India actually every minute, right? Because I'm activist also, and doing all
Okay.
this Indian diaspora, writing poetry, and all those, involved in many issues. So
Hmm.
physically, I live here. I am very much engaged in my daily routine here. But
Hmm.
I think I'm more absorbed and more informed about India on daily basis.
Really?
Because yeah, because in this age you can really have the access through electronic media or from
Yes.
WhatsApp and from talks and all those you can call. And
Hmm.
since I'm engaged, that's why I remain very much informed. So
Yes, but
I know what is going on in Delhi today or what is going on in Azamgarh yesterday. I know, and
right.
I visit regularly also. Yeah.
Okay, and is basically from your impressions of from the media reporting you get to know about what's happening in India.
Media reporting and remaining very much connected with your family, with your larger family, with your cousins and friends. So
Right.
I'm getting a overall impression of India every day, Anirudh.
Okay. Okay. So please tell us more about your connections with the Indian diaspora and the US. I mean, like, what is the circle like?
I
Um,
mean, I'm very much since I initiated this program, so I
mhm,
know Indians of all brands here, and
mhm,
elsewhere I get connected with them also, other organizations also. I
mhm,
invite them, like Hindus for Human Rights is a very, very famous and sometimes not liked by some political party in India. But Hindus for Human Rights or other organizations like Association of Indian Muslims or Hyderabad Society
mhm.
or Aligarh Alumni Association, all kind of associations. So these are all Indian diaspora people. So
Yes.
all brands from different background, different communities, we are very much engaged. If that was your question, that
Yes. Yes. Perhaps this is all these efforts which you put in make you so popular among
no, I'm
Indian
not
diaspora.
much popular really. I'm just like a few visible people. No, I'm not popular. I'm not very known. There are many, many very well known people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just just trying to make a little difference. Yeah.
Right. And so what advice would you like to give to young research scientists who would like to pursue a career as research biologists who are in India and they're striving to, go for higher research?
Well, a lot of Indians are coming here. A lot of Indians, after doing PhD, they
Hmm.
end up in here. And now India is, of course, producing so many PhDs. They Most of them have a habit also, or they know probably that you have to go for doing the postdoctorate after
Hmm.
PhD abroad, and
Right.
only then you have to, you will get a better impression back home. That's partly true because all the good science is still going on in the West. There's no
Hmm.
doubt.
Right.
We have more resources. We have more what you call uh, culture of science, a scientific temper or scientific culture around or environment. It gives you far more better open accessibility to do science and learn
Right.
it, and then probably get more better trained and then go back to India if you wish to. And
Hmm.
probably the Indian institution also consider that a PhD from India and or doing postdoc within India is not as valuable as after PhD going for 3 to 5 years training in West, particularly USA, and come back, then it is more valuable. This is a problem within the Indian science that I was just recently when I met you. Next day I went to Jamia. They invited me, and I
Hmm.
said that I'm not going to talk my science. Rather, I will talk science in USA versus science in India. So,
Right.
and I just gave a general lecture or sort of advice to those students, mostly
Hmm.
PhD students and faculty.
Hmm.
It is the same that we observe. When I was doing PhD in India, which was in 75 to 80, that was
Hmm.
long. We
It's
were
long.
not, yeah, we were not that much resourceful. Things were still coming up. But now in 2020, India is
Hmm.
struggling with money and they can acquire any technology or instrument. I can see the labs are very mm, uh, well in the sense that they have equipments and all those. But the quality of science is still is far from what the science is research is being done in the US or elsewhere.
Right.
So what then the question is why what is lacking there? I mean
Right.
some
That's what I wanted to ask you next.
so the material part is there. They can
Mm.
acquire it. Maybe it will be a little expensive to them, importing and all those. Material part you can acquire.
Hmm.
You have lab facilities, you have training. I mean, you have done PhDs. But then the question is, it's a huge country. We are talking about 1.4 billion, and out of this 1.4 billion, the middle educated class is 350 million. This is the largest anywhere in the world. Anywhere.
Hmm.
This is more than the population of United States of America.
Right.
And this one is middle class, means university graduates, having computer in their homes, having every facility that you have to progress, right? So when you have all this, then you should by that criteria you should be able to compete.
Right.
Are you? The question is, are you competing?
Right.
This this is not a negative comment on India. It is more rather more patriotic comment on India that
Right. I
if
get
we
your sense.
if we have all these scientifically speaking or logically speaking, then you should be able to compete.
Right.
Uh, Nobody is questioning about brain power. Nobody is questioning about you have acquired the expertise. The others have also acquired the expertise, same level of probably resources, university to university level, or overall. So compete. Why you don't? I mean, why we don't see? We don't anticipate that your competition will be at our level here in the, but it should be visible enough to acknowledge.
Right.
We acknowledge, but still the level is far from what it should have been.
So we are making progress in research here in India, but still a lot needs to be done. You know. So how can this research be upgraded? How can this be improved? If you have some tips.
Well, the research improvement is based actually the you have seen one trend that when the Indian scientists or um, any higher studied student comes in the West, within a few years they if they are really good they excel. It's a very commonly seen. They excel. Most of them excel if they are given a proper environment.
Right.
It's the same person which was there but was not excelling.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, when they return back,
Mm-hmm.
the same situation comes back. So there is something in the environment that
Mm-hmm.
people miss there. One very important thing
Right.
they should rather study the social environment of Western countries, not the
Okay.
not the physical environment, the social environment of America, social environment of UK or France or Germany. Why people do so much good research? Why are they inventing things? Why they do discoveries? All the patents are only in the West. I mean, the patent that matter. We have.
Mm-hmm.
I heard people telling me when I go to India, we have thousands patent. We have
Yes, of
this
course.
patent. We have that patent. But those patents are not marketable enough or compatible enough to the rest. So, so they should really the best that Indians should do is, or Indian policymakers or thinkers should do is to read carefully, observe carefully what the Western environment does to their people.
Hmm.
In India, I can see the difference very clearly, but I cannot say very openly because people get very, uh, when you go there, my wife keeps on saying, don't be very analytical all the time. You sound like very negative about India. I'm not negative.
To read news and views from India, do log on to Awaz the Voice at www.awazthevoice.in. Thank you, sir, for joining us and hope to see you soon. Razi Raziuddin is a great inspiration for all Indian youths who believe in hard work and dedication. He's a perfect example of success. When there's will, there's a way. We need to follow his example to make our country proud. That's all we have this week. We'll be back soon with another interesting topic. Till then, goodbye from the Matrix team and Merry Christmas.